We're continuing the Architecture of Attention series, and today we're going to dive into the battle that is happening in our brain. So let's go. Let's understand what is the battle that is happening in our brain. Why do sudden brilliant insight often strike us when we are completely relaxed? We have heard, right? There are few scientists who got real bulb moment when they're in their bathing tub, like in shower or when we are relaxed in a garden. The 19th century mathematician Henry Poincare struggled with a complex proof for days with no success. Disgusted, he went to the seaside. As he walked on a bluff, the breakthrough answer suddenly arrived with brevity, suddenness, and immediate certainty. This happens because our brain contains two largely separate mental systems engaged in a constant tug of war of control. One is the bottom up mind, and the second one is top down mind. We are going to discover more on these two. What is top down system and what is bottom up system? Coming to the bottom up system is our ancient subcortical machinery. It is incredibly fast, that is operating in milliseconds. Second characteristic is it is involuntary and automatic. That means it is always on, the bottom up system. And the third one is intuitive and impulsive. That means it is driven by emotions. And the final characteristics is the executor of our habitual routines. It is this massive computing engine that solves Poincare's math proof behind the scenes and handed it to his conscious mind. That means it has the massive computing engine also. And anything which is habitual, which is routine, which is happening on a day-to-day basis, that is handled by this brain. So many times actually we have heard about this left brain and right brain. Here it is having a little different approach. It says one is bottom up, one is top down. In contrast, the top down system resides in our newer neurocortex. It is slower and requires voluntary exhausting effort. It is typically slower and requires voluntary and exhausting effort. And the second characteristic is the seat of the self-control and willpower. So the prefrontal cortex actually in the top where our prefrontal cortex is, right? So there actually this system, this is also called as the CEO brain. The third characteristic is capable of learning new models and overriding our bottom-up impulses. That means if we want to disrupt any kind of patterns, then it is the brain which is responsible for that or which is capable of bringing that change. That is why it is called CEO brain. CEO generally makes the decision, whereas the employees, they just execute in the same fashion how they are being trained. Through an optical illusion of the mind, we believe our conscious top-down mind is completely in charge. But in reality, the vast majority of our mental operations occur backstage in an automatic bottom-up system that runs in autopilot mode, right? So as psychologist Daniel Kahneman notes, the top-down mind is often just a supporting character who believes herself to be the hero. The CEO mind believes that it is a hero because the brain always seeks to conserve energy. The moment we master a new skill like driving or typing, the brain pauses it down to the effortless bottom-up basal ganglia. So these are the two brains that we have discussed. Let's go little deeper into the slide now, where it says the brain is not a unified commander. It consists of two largely separate mental systems engaged in a constant tug of war. Why tug of war? We can say like because this top-down system is always wants to control, but the bottom-up system always wants to run in an autopilot mode and try to conserve the energy. This is what actually we just discussed. And the practical scenario, one example could be struggling with a complex problem at work all day with no success, only to have the brilliant, fully formed solution pop into your head while completely relaxed in this hour. It could happen. And many times actually it has happened with me also. That's why if something is not clicking and I am kind of struggling in the night, I generally stop and wake up early in the morning the next day and do the meditation and then try it out again and it clicks. So going to the bottom up, down in the bottom up engine, that is this one. The bottom up system is our ancient. Okay, I have just discussed about this also. Let's see the practical scenario one of them. Driving all the way home from the office and pulling into your driveway, suddenly realizing you have no active memory of the last 50 minutes, your bottom up engine effortlessly drove the car. This is what happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
During
absolutely.
the driving, we
Yeah.
generally do not notice anything. It is we just do it on autopilot mode.
Autopilot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And system two is the top-down controller.
Yeah.
That is a neurocortex or the prefrontal cortex also we call this.
Yeah.
And this has the willpower, this has the
Yeah.
self-control, ability to learn new models
New
or
models.
override impulses. However, unlike the bottom-up engine, the top-down system is agonizingly slow and requires voluntary adjusting effort. Its energy reserves
Yeah.
are strictly limited and drain rapidly with use. That is why
Yeah.
willpower is a limited resource and
Yeah.
drains rapidly with use. In the morning, it might be in the full capacity. By the evening or by the night, actually, we generally tend to deplete all our energy and succumb to our regular habitual mode. That time, actually, if we want to get saved, then we have to definitely look for instances wherein actually we can have a healthy system already built, healthy environment already built, where we do not need to fight with the
Yeah.
decision making. We should not
Yeah.
actually go into any new decision making.
In that.
Already
Yeah. Yeah.
healthy habits should be there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Because it just.
success. Yeah,
Yeah, because this two slides or this topic, bottom and for me or for us, this is the key uh, crux of that whole book. Okay, if I just take these two topics, and understood that what is the bottom up and top down, it is a great kind of achievement reading this particular book. This is very nicely explained in this book, and it is very practical. That is what we are
very
discussing.
yes.
Like bottom up, this is again proved by, I read in one of the book, he's a neuroscientist, and he gave the example. They have done the practical test on some people. They played a poker, and they asked to use the top down approach, where they use their thinking brain to decide what's the move they are going to do, and other team, they are just playing on the intuition, which is the bottom up approach. And most of the time, the intuition won, those games. The reason
Mhm.
is, as just we discussed, it takes a very less energy. Okay. And you need to use the spatial component. So there is a lot of the brain approach, the functioning of the brain, which helps in bottom up is a natural one. It is the same brain or same functionality which with which our brain calculates the breathing, it controls the heartbeats and all that. So it is a body intelligence, so and yeah, in this book, definitely we'll see that author helps to understand both, And yes, we need to use both approaches, but yeah, on these slides, yeah, I completely agree that this top down approach, yes, at the end of the day, you should not engage for the top or most important activity. You need to finish in the start of the day, because yeah, it's
Yeah.
willpower,
And
and this
also,
is all limited. Yeah, this is all limited energy. Awesome.
true, very true.
Yeah.
So, okay, now that we discuss about these two important things,
Yes.
let's end the call with discussion questions or reflective questions and some action steps for
Yeah.
today,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that we can focus on this particular part little deeper before
Yes.
coming to the next slide.
Yeah.
Next slide, some other one, two, three. Three slides are there. Yeah, fine. Let me discuss about the
Yeah.
reflective question. So today, the first reflective question is look at the traits of the bottom-up brain, which is fast, impulsive, driven by emotion, habitual. Where in
Yeah.
your daily life does this system cause trouble for you? So our habitual pattern, we need to identify which is not empowering. Disempowering habitual pattern, we need to identify as per this first reflective question. Second
Yeah.
reflective question is the top-down brain, that is the CO brain, is like an energy draining battery. How do you notice your willpower falling at the end of a long existing day?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what actually we discussed, that we need to observe, we need to reflect
Yeah, just yeah, yeah.
in the
So
evening
these
or
are
in the
these are
time.
the two, yeah, these are the two practices which we discuss. Like in the morning, if you pick up the phone very first thing in the morning, okay, so the your hand goes to phone is the bottom up approach, So those, yes, we need to observe those one.
Hmm. And in the
Otherwise,
night, in the
people, yeah.
morning, we will be able to easily get rid of that tendency.
Yes,
That
yeah,
is why in our awareness tracker also, the tracker, we are able to see
exactly.
that more number of control is easily possible in the beginning of the day, but
Yeah,
towards the end of the day, we succumb to the habitual patterns.
yeah.
So better not to
So in
have
a
the phone or
meeting, yeah.
yeah.
So in a meeting we discussed yesterday, if you are not speaking in a meeting and your mind wanders, that is bottom-up approach. It wants to do something, pick up the phone,
Ah,
something different. And
yeah.
top-down approach is on top of it, saying that no, you need to focus on this one. So yes, there is a tug of war between two, but after reading this book and understanding the process, how it works, we can use to our advantage. That is the beauty we are discussing here, isn't it?
Very
Both
right.
are good, both are good, both are there, both are natural. But yeah, we
Hmm.
need to observe that. So yeah, action today for this one is to observe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
action step one, action step is these are the two reflective questions. One
Yes.
action step is identify a physical task you do
Yeah.
purely on bottom up autopilot mode, like brushing your teeth or washing dishes, anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
One practical task we need to identify. And today, what we need to do, use your top down mind to do it with your non dominant hand, forcing yourself to pay active attention. That means if we are doing the brushing with right hand, today,
Yeah.
today means tonight, maybe before night, actually, we also brush it. So that time we will brush with our left hand. Non dominant hand means the other hand we will use, and with the help of, and that activity will be performed by whom? The the top down system, that
Yes.
is the prefrontal cortex,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not a habit. So
Yes.
by engaging both the brains, a balance will be brought, and that balance will actually create more harmony and more energy. Our brain power will increase.
Yeah.
So it is also said that if you take one particular route almost every day, then
Uh-huh.
at one very maybe once in a week or once in a month at least, we should take another route to office or wherever we generally go, so that our mind becomes alert and we become more observant. And
Yeah.
that time the habitual pattern will not work.
Yeah.
So that mind activity is required actually. So
Absolutely.
key quote of today is the top-down mind often acts as a supporting character who believes herself to be the hero.
Yeah.
Who believes herself to be the hero. So top-down mind often acts as a supporting character. It's even though it is a supporting character, it believes as they do, and it has
Yes.
actually it has the capacity to create the habit, but not many things actually can be created. So we have to be very cautious in spending the energy with the help of top-down approach, a top-down mind. Okay, that's all for today,
Awesome.
and we will meet again on Monday.
Yeah.
Till then, thank you all. Thank you,
Thank
Melinji.
you. Thank you, Bhagatji. Have a nice day. Thanks. Awesome
Have a nice
slides.
day and
Thank
have
you.
a big